All right. But I guess we start. Hello, everyone. This is NGC joining again for the podcast. This time, holiday special. It's more about just talking about the holidays. Joining me again is, by random YouTube order, Jenn.
I may be first. I may be last. I may be late for dinner. I may be broke for Christmas. But I am first and always Jenn. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey there.
Don't all get up at once. I'm going to need you to calm down. And the crowd goes tepid. Oh, well.
Let me see. Then next up, Carlos.
Hello there. This is Gunmetal Gator, formerly the artist known as Vabroni, and I'm here to say, oh my God, there's so much media to consume today. So much media to consume. And I'm going to tell you all in some quick critical reviews about them because, oh boy, I think we hit some gold mines here.
And then next up, the married but going to be married again couple day and second.
Woo, we're second day.
Second day away, as we put it, we've had the marriage but not the wedding.
Yes. So we're going to have our second day wedding.
Yeah, signed the piece of paper, but didn't get the ceremony.
No.
That really is not so weird to me right now. Because I've seen a lot of people doing that now, where they have a wedding ceremony or just a small event, and then the actual wedding or reception later.
Yes.
Yeah, unless we have an excuse there.
Yeah.
Well, you do.
That aside, we're here to talk about some other holidays besides what will forever be our anniversary. And what can I say? I have a few opinions on this one. But that aside.
All right. I guess of that said, I guess Carlos wants to go first because he's about to burst at the seams about something.
It's not something, it's multiple things.
What he's been up to lately.
All right then. So first of all, in terms of what I do daily, Vanguard Zero has updated fully with the Vanguard G next series. Sort of how Duel Links has each new arc as its own separate installation and different stuff going on. Vanguard has finally moved on to its next series, being Vanguard G, which includes an extra deck for its own fusion monsters. Oh, in this case, future versions of units and such. And my God, the game actually feels like you're actually playing an actual strategic game instead of banking on luck only. Because you now are given a lot more defensive options, and now it feels like such a playable game that even with the most competitive decks right now being something that's very oppressive right now, but something cheaply made, it feels like a bit of a chess match if you're able to draw your right pieces. It actually feels like chess now. This is the best time now more than ever to actually play this app game. And I'm telling you, I'm taking this very seriously, as I'm going to be participating in in a pro league tournament in which first place might grant them $4,500, and also including a next-gen console of either Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5, and also actual trading cards with a physical trophy. I'm not joking. And it's free to enter. And the sign-ups just closed yesterday.
Did you sign up for it?
Oh, I signed up with an actual team.
Oh.
I'm actually a captain for it. I'm actually the captain for it. My team name is our team name is known as the Quatre Remnants.
Ooh, nice name.
Nice.
Yeah, because it's an offshoot of the actual Vanguard Zero team I'm a part of, known as the Quatre Knights, which is based off the anime's Antagonist team from the last season of the original series. Which they're not actually antagonists as you would think they are. Instead of being people who are fighting for a good cause, but it means sacrificing one person for the needs of the many. Yeah, yeah. Vanguard has like lots of those interesting, complex issues when it comes to like actual problems they have to deal with.
Ah.
Yeah, that's why I really did like the name so much. I was like, okay, it has to be an offshoot of it because at least one of my teammates is also part of the Cross Trade Night. So I went with Remnants because we were like the last people who was looking for a team. I was like, why not go with Remnants? I mean, it's a kind of like a dark name, you know, like little reminders and stuff, and little things like that, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, so
Relevant.
that's for like me in terms of like trying to do something active in order to try to get some money for myself. But then
Mhm.
afterwards, when it comes to media,
Mhm.
we have the finale of Centaur World now with us now. The show by Megan Nicole Dong,
Ah.
in which they decide to enter series on the second season.
Nice.
Wait, it's
And
over already?
yes, it is.
I know
Yes,
that's
it
going to be
is.
one of my news things. That they're like, oh yeah, the series dropped. Like I didn't expect them to end it with just 2 seasons.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, they decided to go with that. And while like the first half of season 2 might be the most controversial part of Centaur World in its entirety, let's just say the finale in of itself, people consider it to be as great as Gravity Falls finale.
Oh wow.
That's how good Centaur World ends with. So
Well, that would be a step up from their usual then, because, hey, if I'm being honest, Gravity Falls was hilarious, and Centaur World was a bit of a fundamental misunderstanding of comedy like that IMO.
yeah,
Like, I feel like weirdly for the, it was, well, the best thing about the silly world was that it was how the horse reacted to the silly world.
uh-huh. I get you. Yeah.
My
Well,
favorite thing is still the Nightmare King. He's amazing.
Not
No
Nightmare
spoilers
King,
for
the
me.
Nowhere King. The
I just
Nowhere
took my
King.
headphones out for a hot minute, so
I'm
yeah.
not spoiling anything. Trust
I know,
me.
but I'm so
that.
bad at that. I'll like latch on to something and then I just know things is going to happen. So
I gotcha. Well, yeah, like just actually watch this nice little like a wrapped up like 18 episode mini series that is Centaur World. You won't regret it if you are a fan of ponies, especially since the story editor is still Megan McCarthy.
Mm.
And with great voice talent, such as the main character being voiced by the voice of Izzy, Moonbow. How can you go wrong? Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, just enjoy that. But now moving on to other stuff in the anime hemisphere. Let's go ahead and talk about a little childhood series of Pokemon Digimon. And let's see. Oh yeah, and then also the fact that JoJo Stone Ocean came out. The first 12 episodes. Jolie. Oh yeah, that actually was in the second episode, Jennifer.
Sorry about that.
Okay, let me just tell you this. Part 6, thanks to it being anime, could possibly be the best animated part with all the stuff it has involved with it.
Nice.
I'm letting you know right now.
Oh,
Not even like 6 episodes in, and you already have such a dramatic plot device. Oh god, it just sucks you into wanting to see more of like the original Orange is the New Black, because that's what JoJo Part 6 is. It's legitimately that, but with stands, and that's what makes it a lot more elevated.
ooh.
Plus,
Excited.
given the fact that like so far right now, except for like the last few episodes, it's literally been a predominantly female-led cast.
Mm-hmm.
Including some interesting stand users, which kind of makes you rethink what stands even are in the case of like the user for Foo Fighters.
Ah.
You have yourself like a series that is just going to like elevate more and beyond. And as soon as it comes back, I already know what the next arc is going to be, and it's going to be one of the best arcs ever because it's going to be the beginning of the Flaccid Pancakes. And that's just a localized name of the actual band that they use for this one.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I do like
actually,
pancakes, so.
Oh no, yeah, but how do you enjoy your Limp Biscuits?
Sure.
Limp Bizkit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because and also let's not forget the fact that like the Joe bro or the Joe sis in this part is actually a Mexican American.
She's a Latina?
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Hermes Costello.
Oh my goodness.
And her stamped namesake is the band Kiss.
Oh my gosh, it gets even better. It gets better.
Not forgetting
her
his boots with these references.
And her ability is literally she produces a sticker in which whenever she attaches it to something, can double it.
Ooh.
Can double it, like basically clone it, but while it's still attached to like its original self. And whenever she removes the sticker, it smacks back into place, causing damage to the item.
Okay.
Nice.
Yes.
Now all we need are just like the members of Guar or something in JoJo.
Guar?
A big heavy metal costume band. Heavy metal big heavy metal band that wears like really, really outrageous costumes. I tell you, just look them up. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, also continuing on with we also get revealed like the main antagonist very early, but I'm not gonna spoil it because of just how, let's just say, they're kind of like viewed as like one of the lesser JoJo antagonists. But the fact that like there's a certain quality about them that like is gonna make you think they're that archetype, yet they act like they not really like. It's basically like, okay, like if you're a fan of Hunchback of Notre Dame, you're gonna really like this antagonist.
I think I've got questions already, but I think I have an idea of somewhat of an idea of who could be based on.
Alrighty then. But yeah.
At least it's not Dio. At least it's not Dio, right? It's Dio, isn't it?
No, it's not Dio. It's not Dio. Okay, well, let me just say this: the antagonist is not Dio, essentially. But let's just say Part 6 is like the perfect ending for the original series of JoJo.
Okay, at least it's not Dio, because how many times are you gonna hear she's like, "But it was I, Dio," like 60 times.
But yeah, so I guess like JoJo Part 6 is really amazing, especially with like the voice actresses for both Japanese and English Jolene being major fans of Part 6, being the major inspiration behind them wanting the voice actor to begin with, and them eventually getting the part is like a dream come true for both of them.
Totally.
And especially with the English VA, which you might recognize the name, Kira Buckland.
Wait a minute, I do know that name.
Yes.
That sounds familiar.
Also known as the... might you recall... Yes, Jen?
It's ringing bells somewhere.
Might I remind you about a brony project by the name of Pony.Mauve?
Are you kidding?
Okay.
Twilight Sparkles VA from Pony.Mauve is voicing Jolene in the dub.
Nice.
Oh
yeah.
Okay, if you could see my face right now, my jaw has just dropped to the floor.
Legitimately. Legitimately.
Yeah, even I.
Moving up.
I'm not in.
Moving up in the world. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not really into the JoJo fandom, but like, even though that's been plastered all over my Facebook feed for like the past 2 or so weeks.
I've been wanting to see that, but since the announcement, I was like, and I read up on the history of JoJo and everything, of JoJo and such, and then when I read up on, and then recently when I saw about Stone, so notion about Jolene. I was like, oh my god, yes. I mean, this is the one that's gonna get me to actually watch.
I mean, if you're watching it as like your first shoujo, I'm telling you, this is the finale of all part 1 to part 6.
Mhm.
You're not gonna get some stuff unless you actually rewatch the entire series before this in order to get the whole compilation, especially since like considering Jolene's connection with a certain protagonist.
Oh,
from
I
an
already
earlier
know.
part.
I already know. Oh, I already know what that part is.
Yeah.
I already know what that. I already know that part. And matter of fact, in one of the promos, you actually see him in the background.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I'm like, I know who that is. I know who that is. And the preview I was reading, they reiterated on who the connection is. I'm like, I already know that part.
It was I, Dio.
No. That was a part
No, I'm
before
kidding.
Daylover.
That would be
That was a part
hilarious.
before
It was.
Daylover.
I know too.
That was yeah.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. It'd be hilarious if it was, but at the same time, I'd be like throwing flipping tables, throwing stuff at the screen. Like, are you kidding me?
But yeah, so Notion is really that grand. Like the music is fantastic. The Florida atmosphere is such an enriching environmental piece on this with like all the characters and such. It's just great to see it.
Mm.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, and it's a very empowering story. Even like Araki was like very novel about making this story like all the way back in the early 2000s. Even though this takes place in 2011, it still doesn't feel like that much like separated from like the modernness of 2011, even though it was made back in 2000. So it should probably be like a good time capsule for like all that 90s music and such.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing is like when series sort of like date themselves, but like date themselves more modernly. Like they make themselves a period piece, but like a period piece is like something more recent.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing I remember that stood out for like the original like Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate is like they're very much like this is like pre-2000, at the verge of like the millennium. So like I just find it interesting when like series like date themselves and make them a period piece, but more recently. Because everyone was like, all right.
Yeah. So now moving on over to the newest installation for Pokemon Journeys. We get like our prerequisite like advertisement for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl with a Sinnoh story based on the two legendaries of Dialga and Palkia. And it involves alternate dimensions and also an epidemic of Pokemon being taken away to an alternate dimension.
No.
Oh.
Dang.
Yes. And not even that, in the alternate dimension, there's no sign of Pokemon in the normal world. With alternate versions of like the main protagonists in the series, including the return of Dawn, who starts out the story with losing Piplup after trying to train with like the rest of her team, and it's just like, ooh, stab us in the heart after actually showing us her actual team again. Just continue this on with like showcasing like this is a dilemma in which like, oh yeah, in this alternate world, the reason why there's no Pokemon, time seems to be reversed, and Pokemon have sort of like started to lose memory of their moves, and even de-evolve into eggs.
Oh no.
What?
Yeah.
Well, Dialga and Palkia, if I remember their gimmicks as legendaries, they were like the gods of space and time.
Yes.
So probably has to do with them.
Yep. And legitimately, when I heard this, I'm like, okay, this is actually more existentially darker than I would think Pokemon would take. Aside from like the informative information about like death during the Sun and Moon series for 3 episodes, and I'm like, yeah, this is actually a very dark series. 2 pairs of episodes that I really did enjoy it, and even seeing like Ash like literally like lose to like an alternate version of Team Rocket, who acts so confidently with Meowth just being like, oh, Dark Pulse, immediately knocks out like Lucario and like goes like Inteleon and literally kidnaps them. And I'm just like, wow.
Dang.
Wow.
And like literally all this was orchestrated by an alternate version of Team Rocket, whose main goal was let's re-educate the Pokemon of that have been regressed to eggs to plead their loyalty to Team Rocket. It's like
Oh,
that
makes
is
sense.
that is legitimately ingenious. The fact that they dropped the Dialga Pokia in the red chain just for them in order to cause all this mischief. It's like,
That is interesting. Wow.
that's like Galaxy Brain. That's super Galaxy Brain.
Wow.
And the fact that they only failed because like alternate versions of Go and Chloe just came in with like mimicking their own technology of keeping themselves and their Pokemon not being able to de-age. Yeah, because like soon it starts to affect the humans of that world. And it's like, oh god, this is no longer just like an issue of like, oh, people are missing like their party. No, this could be an issue of like, if it's not stopped, everything could possibly die out if time does not get fixed. Because of like, well, like it's just crazy. And the way everyone fixes the problem is by praying to a higher power, and Arceus saving the day.
Wow.
God.
It's getting dark up in here.
Yes.
Pokemon gotta get dark.
It's like a plot in which I wish could have been like in the games in some way, because it's too good of a plot for like an enemy team to not use. Try to use the cosmic powers just in order to like try to do like a simple thievery more expertly done.
Wow.
Yeah. Even if it's not like that well developed, and probably could have used like one more episode in order to showcase like the drama and such. The idea in and of itself feels so rewarding that's like, yeah, this is probably like one of the better two-parter episodes in recent memory for Pokemon. And I'm very thankful we had like this little fun exchange, even with like the returning cast member of Dawn in it as well. So yeah, Pokemon, you did good. You did good for something for the moment, because you've kind of been mid for like a lot of it, for like a lot of journeys, except for certain high points involving Ash. But yeah, that's at least one high point for Pokemon right now. Then we get to Yu-Gi-Oh! With Yu-Gi-Oh! 7th with episode 77.
Oh wow.
And I kid you not, this is the 6th arc happening. And they decided to bring out the most darkest episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7th with this episode.
Oh jeez.
With like its namesake. In which like there was this mystery about this 6th mysterious antagonist sibling. And people have been trying to figure out both out of the show and in the show, in which some like were guessing like, is it the main character? Is it this costume guy that looks like a chameleon? Is it someone else? Like, people had no idea. And then, like, when they were trying to fix up, like, the costume character by the name of Swirly, who was under brainwashed by, like, an evil little girl wearing, like, a ladybug on her head named Nana, in which, like, they hypnotized him to act like a zombie, basically, from, like, a previous episode. And what happens is, like, the main character Yuga loses to like his rival's big sister, and when she's trying to stop him from like trying to fix up Swirly, but they have no idea why. And then when they come around to meet up with like the former antagonist group that was trying to stop the existence of Rush Duels, and realize like the use of a forbidden card was used, and that forbidden card is actually Monster Reborn, and then I just laugh at the idea of it. One of the most banned cards of the entire game, and one of the original games that people use constantly in the original series, is Monster Reborn as an actual plot. A plot card. Yeah. And then, like, basically, like, the former antagonist tries to duel against the brainwashed Swirly in a game with Monster Reborn, in order to try to release him from like his brainwashing. And then, in a moment that like he calls for like a persona release upon using the said card, Swirly is removed of his brainwashing, but something else comes out of Swirly instead of his old personality.
Oh.
Some sort of black goon comes out of like his chameleon costume, and instead of like the normal Swirly, it's instead like this. Instead, it's like the actual sixth sibling of like the Goha Corporation, and reveals himself to be Goha Yuga. Like a villain with the same name as the main character. And one of the reasons why they confused Yuga for possibly being the sixth Goha sibling was because of like an identification card that said Goha Yuga. And it's just like, so you hit it with a fake out plot twist, and then with another plot twist about like, this sixth sibling is named Yuga, but none of the 5 siblings had any memory about him. And that was because of like a flashback about like a Yuga trying to like wreak havoc. And like the only one able to stop him just barely was like the most antagonistic sibling there, like stealing his memories. And then he became what essentially was Swirly, which was like this docile kid. It's just like now it's just like this madman is out there, like suddenly like defeating like the former antagonist and sealing his ability to know how to duel after him losing. So it's just like, oh, you're not gonna have life or death stakes. Instead, oh, your memories are on the line. So that's really like the big thing about like conflict for this series, because like, yeah, like Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s is a lot more like childish and a lot more friendlier than the previous Yu-Gi-Oh! But it's a lot more complex with like the fact that it's a moving plot with all characters being actually relevant depending on what episode they're in. Which like it never forgets any of the one-off characters. Everyone comes back in some way or form more than once.
All right, but any other final thoughts before we move on?
Let's see. Day and I watched. Well, she finally got me to watch Squid Games, which you probably don't need to hear more about that, but otherwise, also Dogs in Space, which surprisingly not the fish hooks light or butt jokes in space or whatever second-rate romp I was afraid of. More like, seems like it was inspired by that quote about how we don't deserve dogs. But that's the most interesting in theory anyway is probably that early show though from Isao Takahata, which if you don't know was Miyazaki's partner in crime at Studio Ghibli.
Oh yeah.
He made a Heidi TV show, that old story Heidi, which I don't know, I guess you'd know best from the Shirley Temple movie. It's considered a classic in Japan. Miyazaki once referred to it as his masterpiece, as in Takahata's masterpiece. And you're not going to feel like you're watching Lost Studio Ghibli masterpiece, but it does kind of feel like watching pre-Studio Ghibli, like especially, I mean, it's presented very much like something you might see on PBS, just like, hey, what will Heidi do today? Let their nice little life in the nice little mountains with a nice little doofus boy best friend. But yeah, it's like, trying to make the, in that, Princess Kaguya way or My Neighbor Totoro, all that, just make the normal life interesting, and it gets farther than that than you'd think if you didn't know this was a soon-to-be Studio Ghibli head.
Right.
Because, and Heidi, I guess, lends itself well to that, because it is about how Golly G. Willikers perfect and religious affirming life in the mountains is actually, that's the funny thing, the original book is kind of like the original Phantom of the Opera book, is maybe not considered a classic on pure merit. It has and had its share of backlash, but most of its, or at least a good portion of its adaptations, are considered really flat out good. So kind kind of funny how that works.
I really like the show. I think it's cute and funny. I would recommend it to anybody that wants to feel like they want to watch something really homey and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it feels like you're watching the Studio Ghibli precursor, like the talent for making like pointing out the uniqueness in the mundane and the like little emotions in the the day-to-day life that make it connect with you on that above and beyond level, like I said, not quite Tortoro, but getting there. Yes. If that makes any sense.
Woo.
And let me see. No, I guess other than holiday stuff, that's all we've been up to.
Yeah, and wedding stuff.
More Magic the Gathering, but I don't know if I can tell you anything particularly new or exciting about that.
Well, I got a new deck, though.
Yeah, I know you've been rebuilding your deck and stuff, but I feel like we're still both, like, rank amateur journeyman and such.
Still, though, but getting there.
Well,
so there's that.
All right. Yep. And Jenn?
Well, let's see. Other than celebrating a recent birthday, woohoo! Just enduring the holidays this year. I won't get too much into it, but sometimes it's one of those moments where you feel like you're just putting on all the armor you can, and be like, all right, holidays, come at me, bro, and then just like whatever happens. But pretty much just enduring with it. The only thing I really am looking forward to for the holidays is just seeing some family seeing some family this year. That's really all I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. And us in January, hopefully.
Yes. And you guys in January. You guys in January. If not
at the end of this week.
Maybe.
If not, if not at the end of next week, then hopefully in January for sure.
Here.
Yes.
Yep. All right. And I guess for me, like I said, actually I haven't said yet. Yeah, I think I mentioned before, like didn't get Tales of Arise because I had a feeling it'd probably go on sale later. And guess what? It did. So that's one game I got during Black Friday this season and got for like $30 on Amazon.
Nice.
So yeah, playing through that, it's beautiful, but the story isn't the best told. It's like very straightforward in some ways. Like it feels like sort of childish, but like this sort of like it's like very simple. Yeah, it's just hard to say, but I'm enjoying the game though. And then besides that, I've just been catching up with some anime. I just sort of started, I think, a series I started but paused on because it's not done yet is Banished from the Heroes Party. And then I'm catching up on Dragon Maid Season 2. And I eventually will get around to Centaur World too because that's a surprise drop. That was actually going to be a news story. Then besides that, the only other thing I've been up to is, at least media-wise, media entertainment-wise, I've been going to Kings Island's Winterfest. So I've added now 3 adult coasters to my ranking of things I've actually tried in my life. Gotta really... Yeah, I was that kid that always would go to amusement parks wanting to ride any actual, like, roller coasters for, like, a good 30 years of my life. But yeah, so yeah, I went from like riding Adventure Express, it's like a mine car. Then this year I rode the Beast, which was extremely rough this year, apparently. And I wanted to ride that because, like, well, if I'm going to ride this one adult roller coaster and not know if it's my thing, I might as well ride the biggest wooden roller coaster in the world. And then Winterfest, I've been riding Mystic Timber, which is a much newer wooden coaster and significantly less rough and actually pretty fun. But yeah, also the Beast is finally getting retracked after I wrote it. I'm not surprised at all. But yep. But then besides that, just sort of getting ready for TrotCon next week, which should be fun, and also possibly meeting up with some other people later, later or during or something. But yeah, just looking forward to that, and still waiting for the announcement of the actual schedule for that. But yeah, I'm getting ready. I got my booster shot last week, and I have some American-made N95 mask I ordered on Amazon, which I already have.
There you go. Well, I guess you put in
I'm
like
prepared
it's
because
made.
freaking
It's American made, so it's perfect.
yeah, it's like, well, I prefer to get American-made because if you really look up from the pandemic, like a lot of American PPE like things like mask and gloves and all that, they were really sort of being screwed over before the pandemic hit. And that's why I was like, I think there's only one American mask manufacturer left, just because they're being undercut by China, who's like often will subsidize their masks. So that's why there was often a big shortage later on, because when the pandemic originally hit, China was like, yeah, we're these are 3M masks. Well, there are 3M masks. You can't sell them out of China until we have a certain amount again. And then there was only like one left, I think, in Texas or something like that, which is mostly around because they want to keep one American factory in America, sort of thing.
Makes sense.
Now there's a whole bunch of people popping up because, pandemic actually does do some good things for the economy. For certain parts of the economy, it's pretty well. Random tangent off. Let's go to the news stories because I know some things do. Let's go, I guess, to the quicker ones first. Let me see. Centaur World Season 2 was already announced. That's more of a surprise for me because it's like, oh, it's Season 1 just dropped this year. Then it's like Season 2 is like out and apparently finished. So, I mean, like the whole series, was like, well, that happened. And then other quick thing is the Game Awards happened. Not really many new announcements, a few new trailers. But the winner this year was It Takes Two, which a semi-indie, even though it's technically an EA game, won it.
Huh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really pay attention to the Game Awards this year.
Actually, something new that I just realized that's coming up that I'm looking forward to is the new Matrix.
Oh, that's right.
It looks good.
It drops in just a couple weeks.
That's real.
Yeah, it looks good.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of good movies right now. There's the Matrix thing you mentioned. There's the Spider-Man thing, which I'm really excited for.
We are too.
There's that Sing movie coming out, which I like the first one, so I'll Sing
2.
Sing 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sing 1 was cute. Yeah.
I love Sing. I love the first Sing. It was so good. It was so good. Like if anybody ever, I remember it came out like the same time as, I think around the same time as Zootopia.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny, like there was like this thing like Sing versus Zootopia. I'm like, for the first time, I'm like, you know what? Don't ask me to choose. I like them.
Actually,
both.
I think
Don't ask me
because Zootopia I think was a spring movie. I think that the original Sing was like a December movie.
Right. They were close. Well, I don't know about close.
No, I'm just saying, but they were same
both,
year.
right, Jenn?
No, I was just saying they were the same year, but like it was like just the one started the year and one sort of ended it.
Right. But then it was like people are like, oh, which animal movie do you like, or some. Then you had those that were like, oh, it's a good year to be a furry. I'm like, But if anyone like told me to choose between the two, I'm like, I'm sorry, I refuse to be a part of that conversation because they're both amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Not me. I did have to take at least 1 point off of Sing for slapping on the third act of Cats Don't Dance because gotta have raised stakes, I guess.
Hey, you know what? As someone who enjoyed Cats Don't Dance, I ain't mad.
I enjoyed Cats Don't Dance, but having like Cats Don't Dance had a reason for, hey, everything gets flooded and our show is wrecked. It was because an evil little OG Princess Morbucks is working maniacally in the background, saying it just kind of happens.
But Cats Don't. But Little Miss Dimple, I tell you, one of my favorite villains. And I am now of the belief that Cozy Glow was inspired by her. I am of the belief that Cozy Glow was inspired by Little Miss Dimple.
Maybe.
Either her and a few other characters, or they didn't actually realize that they were not that original with Cozy Glow.
But also the best. Dimple has like the best henchman.
Yeah.
Best henchman of all,
So true.
best henchman of all time. I have to say, I hate, even though I love Kronk. I love Kronk from Emperor's New Groove. There's just something about Max.
Yeah, he's
Here,
But,
kitty,
He's like, how does the kitty cat go?
kitty cat.
He's like, how does the kitty cat go? Meow. Very good.
Very good.
My favorite line of all time of that movie when she's like, Max, invite that cat to tea. And her face, the way they draw her face when they, it's just like, I know it's diabolical, but oh my god, I'm laughing. It's so
yeah. Warner Brothers had some very interesting like 2D animated films when they were trying to do that thing before they sort of gave up in the 90s.
It's true.
No, but cats don't dance. It's like it deserves like some just respect on its own.
But I said there's a whole bunch of movies coming out, like I said, which actually is really good because I like going to the movie theater. Just haven't had much opportunities as of late. I think the last one I went to was no, I went to something recently. What was it? It wasn't Suicide Squad because I've seen that earlier. Oh yeah, the Ghostbusters.
Still have to watch that, the new one.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah,
one recent movie I did
all
see.
of it, though.
I did see House of Gucci.
How was that?
I loved it, and it's not just beyond. I'm a big Lady Gaga fan. Paws up, little monsters. Not sorry, but she's I've loved her acting too. And the funny thing is with House of Gucci is like, I did find it interesting that everybody even though this is purely an Italian story, but you have like American actors and they're all speaking in, I guess, pseudo Italian accents. That's the one thing I found kind of a little off about it, but it's fun. But it was just fun to watch. I made a post recently, if anyone's seen it, that I say if Gaga or the team that made up Jared Leto's character in the movie, if they don't get Oscars, I'm rioting. At bare minimum, at least the team that made up Jared Leto, because I swear I did not know it was him until I heard his voice, and then I saw his eyes. And I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, wait a minute. For a minute, I thought, my God, you let yourself go. But I'm like, no, that's makeup, because it completely just fooled me. The only thing, it's a really fun, it's a good watch. Honestly, it's a sad story, but it's a good watch, and I would hope that, and it made me want to research more about the story, about what really happened with the Gucci, with the Gucci family and the Gucci brand. It made me want to just read up more about this to get all the facts and such. But other than that, just great performances all around by everybody. It's a good watch. I really recommend it.
It seems like people are seeing it too.
Oh yeah, not just the Gaga fans.
Yeah, which has got to be a good consolation for director Ridley Scott, or at least an adequate one, after his last Oscar-baiting movie bombed, and he successfully turned himself into the human equivalent of that Abe Simpson old man yells at cloud memes.
Yeah. The only criticism about is there's a part where is because their accents, the pseudo accents, are so thick. You may not get the story immediately. You may not get the lines immediately, especially with Jared Leto's character. There's a part where his acting went a little bit overboard, just a touch, and I almost checked out of the story. But it was just a split. But it was just a split second. It was a split second, and then he kind of brought it back in. The thing is that some could really criticize that his acting is kind of going overboard for this character, but it's very enduring. It's very endearing for that, and it runs the danger of it just losing it just because of this one performance in this one scene. And it almost goes into veers. I read an article about it. It almost veers dangerously into quote camp territory.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it just seems pure camp almost, but it's not. But I think for what it is, it doesn't really suffer that much. You may get pulled out of the story for a little bit, but then for me, I was easily brought back in. But ultimately, good. Again, I recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from what I've seen of trailers and all, it reminds me of sort of like the tone of Ford versus Ferrari, where it's a historic piece, air quotes, but it's like a very standalone story. So even if you're not into like whatever it is, like the Gucci, I cannot pronounce it, brand,
Gucci.
Gucci. Even if you're not into like that or like versus in fashion, like you can still get into it in the same way. Like even if you're not into cars, you could get into Ford versus Ferrari behind the story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Totally, absolutely. But then the only downside another downside of it is that now, unfortunately, amongst a lot of the Gaga fans, you're going to have a lot of them going father, son, and House of Gucci things all the time. You're going to have a lot of them doing that, and it's going to get annoying.
Gotta praise the Gucci.
That was funny the first time. Okay, that was funny the first 4 times. Now it's getting annoying, okay?
All right, trying to round up the news stories is sort of two that are not officially tied together, but also I like to think they are. Is if you haven't been aware, YouTube has gotten rid of the dislike counter.
Yes.
That's why I'm seeing more. That's why I'm seeing more videos with no dislikes because they got rid of it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because air quotes they were gone. Because air quotes they were protecting small channels, not because big channels like Disney kept getting their recent videos very downvoted because people don't like the certain direction Star Wars is taken. That's totally not why. It's because they want to protect the small channels.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, granted, I don't know how sorry I'm feeling for angry fanboys who like what do they call smear campaign, like seeing how many of them they can pull into one place just to say, hey, look how big our collective middle finger is. But yeah, like I'm not sure. I mean, there is kind of just a general downside to that on YouTube that the like dislike thing was at least some kind of an indicator for whether you're going to like a video going in. Just sheer number of likes really doesn't give you that. It's just, I mean, that's just kind of now how many people decided to click that proportion. I mean, nobody's going to keep track of views proportion to likes, especially since that's not airtight anyway. So,
but just sort of going off of that is like this, like some gaming podcast brought this up. Is like this is not, besides just being an unfair way to so we can't sort of show how we don't dislike something. Besides that, it effectively makes YouTube worse because when you're going into like guide videos and all that, you need to see the dislike to like ratio because it shows you like, hey, this is an actually effective video, or hey, this is a troll video,
or this is a fake commercial for a fake product.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
the good
also
news is I just want to tell everyone off the top, you can get a plugin for Chrome where you can actually see the dislike buttons. You just have to install it, and it's ridiculously easy, which I did, but it's annoying because I can't use it on my phone when I'm looking at YouTube there. But it is useful because you can still go in and it's like it's back to normal. So,
okay.
Yeah, so if you want to still see the dislike buttons, is like so you don't completely walk into a video blind. Yeah, you can just get an easy plugin for that.
I do not care any way of whether there's a dislike button or not. So whatever. I'm like, whatevs.
But going off of that, which is like it's not technically related, but like I said, this video dropped pretty much right after they took away the dislike ability, and then was quickly removed because the general dislike was so bad. Disney finally released the promotional video for their Star Wars Galactic Cruise hotel event thing, which was, if you're not aware, was their hotel experience where it was you're going on a galactic journey through a hotel and a themed hotel event. And if you were a regular family, it would go about $5,000 for the starting price. And
well, Disney,
yeah,
you made like 20 rich kids very happy this year.
Apparently not, because the reaction to seeing the video is like, wow, this looks like crap. The video was actually taken down. So even though you couldn't officially see the dislikes for it, they still removed it because there was such negative buzz around it, because it looks like knockoff Star Wars. And like, as people said, like, doesn't necessarily look bad, but doesn't look like Star Wars. And when you're paying like $6,000 for a family, we expect it to look like freaking Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
You think that'd be worth that much at least?
It's just it's over there, and like it's like, oh, it also includes like a journey, like a short journey to the Galactic, to the Star Wars thing in Disney World. Like you can make a short trip to the Star Wars experience there for like 4 hours. Like yay, for like $5,000 or $6,000, you get a partial trip also to Disney World. You couldn't have just thrown in like the whole Disney World ticket just while you're at it. Like no, okay.
Seriously. It kind of reminds me of the Defunct Land video about SeaWorld trying to, after they got blackfished, trying to replace Shamu with more traditional amusement park rides just with a SeaWorld theme. And yeah, I'll never forget the way he described their main ride that bombed, the submarine ride that they were building up like crazy with interactive computer games built in as you're riding it. So you get on, you board the submarine, and audiences begin their journey as the door opens into the deep, blue, blinding sunlight. And then they pass through drawings of fish on a wall and an octopus in one of those glass pseudo 3D without the glasses modes, so they don't have to get an actual octopus model in there. And after moving slowly through the outside, you start seeing fish on your computer screen that kids are supposed to now mash buttons at. So they have identified the fish, and then you go into a room which is supposed to, I guess, be the under the sea part, and then one jet stream of water hoses down one of the 4 or 5 people on the ride, and ta-da, you just took a trip under the sea. That was so worth as much as Shamu was, right?
Yeah, and also the coal was white outside because it's been in the sunlight.
Yeah.
It looked disgusting.
I don't know.
I will say Defunct Lane has some very interesting videos.
Oh yeah.
The moral being, when you decide you've got exactly what audiences want, and you forget about the actual immersive experience part.
Mm-hmm.
But there is some good news, because I've been, like I said, getting the coasters again, and from what I understand, like SeaWorld and like their sister-owned parks, Busch Gardens, have actually been doing pretty well in terms of like getting real rides in there as a substitute to downplay their animal stuff. Because Blackfish was very bad for SeaWorld, to say the least.
Deservedly so.
So like they actually have been getting him some good rides. I hear the biggest complaint as of late is that their 4 biggest new rides. The biggest complaint I heard as of late is that their big 4 rides that they're supposed to be premiering keep getting delayed, because they're originally going to be like 2020 is going to be our turnaround year. Things happened.
Yeah.
So like they have like a massive like Iron Gwazi and Busch Gardens. They have like I forget, one Icebreaker or something like that, and one of the Sea Worlds, and then Pantheon and other Busch Gardens parks. So like they have a lot of big, like very famous roller coasters that are supposed to be for 2020 or 2021, and they basically keep pushing them all back, even though they're completely done. Like I think the one Iron Gwazi one was done in like 2019 or something like that, and they were testing into early 2020 before the pandemic, and it was like, it's done, but we're not going to premiere it yet because see you next year.
That's rough.
Yeah, just because like they want to wait for the proper marketing time for it, and so they have a lot of functional rides that they just won't release yet. But yeah, like I said, SeaWorld apparently is doing better, but Yeah, like it is. But at the same time, I don't think people are, because people have brought up like, oh, they should just completely get rid of all the animal exhibits. It's like that won't really work because that's like a big family draw as your family. Like I'm saying, not change them, but like to completely get rid of them is sort of stupid because you can sort of see what happens to that because like whatever whatever the lake park that was in Ohio, that Cedar Fair bar that was like a Six Flags. It was like a SeaWorld Six Flag thing, and like when Cedar Fair bought it, they're like, oh, let's close down all the animal exhibits because we don't want to deal with that. And it didn't just hit the floor. So yeah, you can't really do that.
Rough.
Anyway, I guess move on to the main topic, which is holiday season, because hey, this is the last recording before Christmas for us. So yeah, holiday season is here. So I'm from get-go, I guess, what are your thoughts on the holidays?
They involve celebrating.
It involves a lot of food.
It involves stress.
I mean, I don't know. It's easy to become jaded, I guess, especially since I'm closer to the front line of all this excessive salesmanship these days. I've had the same 8 songs or so drilled into my head so much. I'm like, oh yeah, I feel like I've become a jukebox that you put the sound into and I produce snark. Sound comes in, snark comes out. But that all said, I don't know. Yeah, especially since that is still the only point at which I really have to be exposed to the excess if I don't want to. I kind of like the excuses to get together and to celebrate and make whatever the heck you want out of those confines. Like, yeah. I like working within my limits to come up with cool gifts and the fact that we do have one only semi-excess holiday in there with Thanksgiving. Like, even though Thanksgiving was a little bit ruined this year by COVID for us, but I don't know. Sometimes they're a good spirit lifter.
I reached the point in life where, like, when you're a kid, it's sometimes I get this feeling a lot like Christmas is only fun if you're a kid because hey, free crap, right? So but when you're a kid, it's all about the presents and such. But as I get older, it's more like it becomes less about, and whatever, depending on wherever your journey takes you in life, it depends less upon like the things you can get and such, because sometimes you have the means to get them yourself, but it becomes more about just family, especially.
You might say there are two kinds of people who grow up in relation to Christmas. There are the people who learn to hate Christmas, and there are the people who graduate into Thanksgiving being their favorite.
Truth. And then there's like those who just don't care about the holidays, about any sort of holiday at all.
Yeah, that's true.
They do what they want.
I wish DB was here to give us a spin on the alternate holidays to Christmas, because I don't know, it seems like he has a good time with it every year.
Well, actually, there is sort of something like for those there's Thanksgiving there's something there's something called like Friendsgiving.
Oh yeah.
Which that's a good kind of alternate, but also for Christmas there's winter solstice. There's the winter solstice. If they want to go back to like its true pagan roots, they'll go for that. Then there's of course Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and such. Then there's also I tried to do something when I turned 40. I tried to do something called Friendmas, for my birthday. It was like combining Christmas and my birthday all in one, but it mostly centered around just, having people at the house and just, celebrating with friends. That's really all that mattered.
Yeah.
That does because a little less about
nice
Christmas.
attempt. Yeah. I mean, like, I do, like, I don't know. I think about presents. I mean, like, there's nothing I really just need that's like, oh, hey, could you pick up one of those for me? Like, stuff I want and or need, I more, like, is usually very specific in that I very much need to get myself.
It becomes more of like things. Well, I don't know. It could be like a mixture of things you want and things you need.
Yeah.
Like there was only one real thing. Like I've definitely gotten out of the point where I'm like asking for things for Christmas, and like whenever like family say, "What do you want for your birthday or Christmas?" I'm like, "Oh, why you gotta ask me this question?"
Yeah.
I mean, I could think about things, but I'm like, I'd rather get them myself rather than just ask somebody to get them for me.
Yeah. Can't you all just be geniuses at dazzling surprises? Is that so hard?
Exactly. There was only one thing that I would drool over, that I knew I said, I want this in my life. There was this really funny shirt that had 2 Gundams on it. And it was an ingenious take on that scene in the movie Friday where Ice Cube and Chris Tucker are like, damn, but instead it says it's 2 Gundams and they're saying gun damn. And I saw, and my sister sent me the picture of that, and I was like, oh my god, I need it, I want it in every single color of the rainbow. That was it.
That's funny, yeah.
I was like, that's the only thing I need and want. That's it.
Yeah. For giving gifts, I am kind of proud when I managed to get in the zone and come up with a good list of gifts, whichever years I've managed to do that.
I love giving gifts to those who can, useful gifts. And when they're like, I could use this, that always gives me like just a rush of joy. I'm like, yes, you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always try to go for specialized for the person who needs, or if I can't come up with anything in mind, I come up with like, I'm getting a specific gift card because I know you'll use this.
Oh yeah, gift card. I can't. What about those who are like have real hate for gift cards? I'm like, I don't even think those people. I sometimes think like those people can't be real, because like it's like hating like gift cards. I'm like, really?
I mean,
I will say
it's almost like a scam concept that happened to kind of work after all. Like, hey, buy money with tax. But I don't know. It is kind of nice to open one of those and be like, oh, sweet, I'm going to this place I like. As opposed to, oh, money, I'd better use that responsibly.
Yeah, I will say, like, the one thing is the exception is, like, if you get a gift card for something that's very specific or weird. Because, I was part of, like, a gift exchange thing where once, like, someone brought, like, oh, here's a gift card for a car wash. It's like, it's like, why would you do this?
It's like, great, that thing that people do maybe twice a year, and I think stop being fun when you turn 6.
Yeah,
that is strange. I am sorry if that actually happened to you.
Hey guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just realized something that I probably should have been talked earlier in the podcast. Something revolving around the series that we all enjoy, including the series that you enjoy, Daylover. Information broke out yesterday that Keiko Nobumoto, the acclaimed writer behind Cowboy Bebop, Tokyo Godfathers, and even Wolf's Rain, passed away on December 1st. Yeah. Just kind of like found out that just now.
Anybody surprised that Cowboy Bebop got canceled?
Oh yeah,
Not
that's another news
even
thing I forgot
a
to
little
mention.
bit.
Yeah, that's another news source I forgot to mention. Yeah, the live action Cowboy Bebop thing got canceled after one season, which is rather fast even for Netflix in terms of canceling show. They usually give it a two.
Hey,
even mentioned that on
Netflix
the
blew
they
a
mentioned
live
that on the
action
local
anime and it did not get a continuation. Who
Right.
could have seen this coming?
Oh,
Yes.
I don't know. The funny thing is they also actually mentioned this on the local radio. They're like Cowboy Bebop. I was like, oh, and the radio host's like, wow, that's a weird name, Cowboy Bebop. I almost stopped what I was doing. And like look at my radio. I was like, how dare you?
That's right.
I was like, I'm gonna march over to that radio station and educate you right now. But and the singer was like, wait a minute, she's not. Hold on, Jen. Put your pitchfork down, and turn off the torch. She's talking about the live action, not the anime. Like, okay, never mind. Let's get back to sorting mail. So, but I'm with you, second. I'm like, I'm not so. I was like, part of me should have been surprised, but I'm like, I'm not, you know.
Yeah, after seeing their take on Ed, I'm like, yeah.
Oh boy, I have to give him an E for. I give him an E for effort. I'd be like, you tried, but you really shouldn't have. It's one of those things like, okay, you can, but have you ever thought about if should you?
And then, before you knew what you had, you patented it, you packaged it, you slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it.
Exactly. I will say, like, seeing John Cho as Spike, I'm not mad. I was like, okay, all right. I wasn't mad. But here's the one thing is like, the one thing I knew they would never be able to do right is casting Jet. He is uncastable. If you're gonna try and cast somebody like Jet Black and have it resonate to the fans, that's impossible. Okay. I don't think it can be done.
Well, to be fair, going back to wait, who are you complaining about the casting for?
It was for Jet. For Faye, Faye was like, okay, typical. I was like, Faye, I had no problems with Faye. I had no problems with Faye. Like, okay, she looks like Faye. All right, fine. And the thing is, having John Cho as Spike. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not mad there. That's workable. I can do that. But then there's the one they had Jet. And of course, like some of those who are like crazy for continuity, like that's so not Jet Black. I mean, like, although, okay, he was voiced by a black man and such, he looks like he could be, but nobody's really figured out what his nationality is. So, so it was kind of a shock, kind of seeing an actual like real life black man playing Jet Black when you have this vision, when you already know what he looks like anime wise. But I'm thinking, like, how in the world do you cast that? I feel like Jet Black is like uncastable, but it was, I don't know. And of course, what you said, what they did with that, I'm like, oh boy.
But I really am curious now how the movie will turn out, because there's like a movie like that was like optioned for a while, and it was like rumored or basically speculated that like they were going to have Keanu Reeves as like Spike Spiegel.
Oh yeah, that was the rumor in the beginning of having him as Spike Spiegel. That was the rumor of it. Now that you've got John Cho, now that John Cho is Spike in this live action, I really can't see Keanu Reeves as Spike in this. I really, it changed my mind. It changed my mind about it, So I'm still like unsure about the whole thing. Just it's still the shock of seeing it live action. It's still like not lost on me, you know. It's so like, this is live action now. I don't know how to feel about that.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to the holiday season, like, what are some of your favorite holiday traditions or stuff like that? Oh wait, before that, my thoughts on the holidays. I would say December and the holidays are probably my favorite season of the year. In the same way, like if you know like Doug Walker from Nostalgia Critic, his thoughts on Christmas, that's pretty much mine. It's like I really just love the vibe of the season. Like it is a very uplifting, fun season. Even if like and I also would have to agree with what Jen said. It really doesn't about the presents for me right now at all, or anything, or the gift giving. It's more like just the experience of getting together with people and all that. That really is so much more of an important thing as an adult.
Yeah. And sometimes, and also those who look at Christmas as there's also another set of second you were talking about two things that can come out of Christmas. There's also a certain set of people, two kinds of other people that come out of Christmas. Those who revel in the stress of the holidays. Even though I bet those people will be like, I don't like the stress of the holidays. Like, if you don't like it, why do you do it, man? But but then there are those that are like, okay, we're gonna look at this as kind of rest and rejuvenation. They look at it as rest and rejuvenation rather than just stress. Stress.
Yeah, you actually bring up another good point. Is like I feel too many people get stressed out because they're basically choosing to get stressed out.
Yes.
Because
and like they insist they don't like the stress. I'm like, then why are you doing it, man?
Oh, like how they're I must do a big light display and all that. It's like no, you really don't have to. Maybe like if everyone else has put out like a inflatable something or something, but you don't have to put that much effort into it. It's just.
Well, you know what? You know what? I don't mind it. I don't mind it if others want to do that. I mean, I grouse. I mean. My mother is Christmas crazy. I love her, but she's Christmas crazy. So she decorates. But then there are those. But there's actually a scientific study that actually revealed that people who do put up their Christmas decorations either earlier or they do them or they just do them, it makes them happier. So I'm like, well, if that's what makes you happy, do you. And I'll admit there's something peaceful and something beautiful about seeing a well done Christmas decoration. Like my boyfriend and I were out last night, and then we came back, and then I was like, can you let me take I was driving, so I was like, can you let me take an extra lap around the neighborhood? I want to see everybody's lights because I love lights. I'll admit, as much as I hate decorating, I love lights. So I look around, I just see all the houses that are done up in the lights, and there's something just beautiful and peaceful about it. And I'll admit they make me kind of inadvertently happy too. I think it's the creative it speaks to the creative, the creative in me.
That's true. Yeah, Day here loves going all over the neighborhood too, seeing lights and stuff.
Oh, gorgeous! There's also a neighborhood in my city, in my city that has these really beautiful old historic houses. And every year they do up their Christmas decorations, and it's just it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. The only thing that could make it probably even better is if you even had snow on the ground, and then it would look like a Christmas card.
Hey, yeah, I can practically picture it. That does sound pretty cool.
It's the neighborhood is absolutely just beautiful.
But going on to that, this is the other thing I want to talk about. Is like, any of you have any holiday traditions or things you like to do?
Well, way back in the day, my grandpa and his two older brothers, both of whom, as of this year, are now deceased, got together for Christmas Eve just for a little brunch. And now, 30 plus years later, the whole... this is specifically my mom's side of the family, but yeah, that whole, and I mean whole side of the family now gets together for a big Christmas Eve brunch in downtown Pittsburgh.
Ooh.
And this year I'm looking forward to taking Day to her first experience with that particular Christmas tradition here.
Ooh, wonderful.
Yay.
And now we've even added ice skating afterwards.
Yeah, I want to go ice skating so bad.
Hey, nice. My favorite is just spending Christmas with my family. Honestly, I go down to I spend Thanksgiving with my mom, and I spend Christmas with my dad and stepmom. So this year, and I hadn't seen them really in almost a whole year. I hadn't barely been in the house the whole year due to the pandemic. And also, they recently just got a brand new puppy. So I can't. Oh my gosh! I saw him when he was a little tiny newborn, and he's growing up so fast. And now I'm chomping at the bit to see the new addition, and just promptly, and just like play with him. So my favorite is just seeing my family, and we just gathering around the tree, or on the Christmas around the kitchen table, and just talking and catching up. And also, gift wise, I like getting lottery tickets every Christmas.
Oh, nice.
The most I've ever won is $11. Wait. We're hoping that for that one day, still hoping for that one day where I get that scratch off, where I get that giant scratch off, and boom, instant millionaire.
That might be more than I've gotten from pretty much any lottery-esque thing ever. I think my luckiest lottery win, quote unquote, was when I entered a triathlon, and they, I don't know, had a bunch of like lot drawing gimmicks tied in, and I won tickets to the Country Bears movie.
Woo!
All right.
But you have so much luck and love, though.
That's true.
Over Bears.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing I was 11 years old. It was almost tolerable then.
Mm-hmm.
Another tradition I forgot that we mentioned we have not just like the the gathering and such. We'll also put on like watch Christmas movies. But I know we started this when I was an adult. It wasn't until I was an adult that I saw the classic A Christmas Story. It wasn't until I was an adult that I saw that movie, and then all I had to do was just see it once, and then I understood immediately why it was such a classic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, yeah, whoever owns it now has worn out its welcome to infinity and beyond, but I mean, yeah, that is kind of a shame because it has its finger on the pulse of human nature a little bit.
But it's still fun. It's still fun to come back to. I have a little tradition to myself, but I actually watched the Nostalgia Critic review of A Christmas Story, the live show.
Matthew Broderick version.
It's just fun. It's just fun to watch. And the fact that it's been made into you're saying it wore out as welcome. I'm like, it's a freaking musical now. And I'm like, really? Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. Well, I really feel works about the Christmas Christmas Story is. I feel what works so much because everyone breaks it down like, oh, there's flaws with the movie and blah blah blah. But really, what it does is it really captures the Christmas tone and spirit very well.
Right.
And I feel that's also why like some people really like the live action Grinch film, even though it is objectively you could say a bad film. It does capture like sort of the like holiday like modern like consumerism aspect of Christmas, and it sort of like plays with that too.
It does.
Yeah. It sticks a few knives in the ribs there, and then Jim Carrey's no respect for this whatsoever Grinch becomes a little more easy to take, a little more sympathetic.
I'm one of those crazy people who, for one, I'm one of these crazy people. For one, like we will watch Christmas Story, and then we watch 2 Christmas movies every year. We'll watch Christmas Story because we have to, because that we feel like we always come back to that story. And the thing is, every single time that me and my dad watch it, he always mentioned this, and I never get tired of hearing it. He always mentions that's exactly how he grew up how he grew up when in the story, in the Christmas story. He got this feeling of everything felt cold, everything. But he remembered that is exactly how the way Ralphie is how he grew up. So he saw a bit of himself. He saw a bit of himself in a window through his childhood through Christmas Story, which and it's always endearing to see him talk admirably about something like that. And there's some still funny moments in there that, you know what, that we'll never quit quoting. Like my sister and I will always be like, Daddy's gonna kill Ralphie. We love quoting those lines, and especially, and I still laugh every single time the dad is going downstairs to mess with the furnace. I still laugh every time I hear it's like, I was like, you want to say the F word so bad, but you can't, and it's so just funny hearing it. I still laugh about it to this day.
One of my biggest laughs now is Ralphie fantasizing about what's going to make him feel better having just been punished with soap in his mouth.
Oh my God.
Like, I love it. He's blind. Oh, what made you go blind sometimes? Whatever it is, let us hear it. It was soap poisoning. Oh! I'll never forgive myself.
And the kid, it's so fun watching the kid do it, and especially when he's trying to be like serious when he's playing the blind man. It's so good. It is so good. He's like, I can't. Yes. He does that accent. He's like, it was so poisoning. I love it. We always watch that, and then we always take a vote on like what second Christmas movie to watch, and it varies. It varies. Like we've watched a total of, I don't remember if last year was the one we watched Die Hard. I don't remember. We've watched Krampus, awesome. We've watched Ernest Saves Christmas, awesome. We watched Fred Claus. That's one of my favorites. I love Fred Claus. I can't remember. That's all I'm thinking of. But we always like figure out like one other. We did watch Bad Santa. Hated it. But we always like take a vote on like what other second Christmas movie that we watch. I'm gonna try and convince him to watch Black Christmas this year. Because I'm so bloody curious about it.
Recommend Claus.
Yeah, Daylover's favorite movie, Christmas movie is that animated Claus, and mine is
is that the Claymation? Life. Is that the Claymation one they did of the story of Santa Claus?
Are you talking about
the Netflix traditional animated one.
Okay.
Forgot to mention, but yeah, I did finally watch it. Like I think it was last year, so like that was a really good Netflix animated thing.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who really likes Emperor's New Groove, I'd have to say it's like comedy on par with Emperor's New Groove, with about 10 times as much heart.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And bring your tissues. There's like really serious stuff in there too.
Oh wow, there's some old like claymation animated specials that really I feel like really should always be included with somebody's Christmas watching. Hell, if you don't even celebrate it, at least watch it once. Like the Rankin Bass. Hang on.
Yeah, Rudolph.
Rankin Bass Rudolph. That's a classic forever. That is a classic forever.
We actually saw that on our Bachelorette Day.
So good. It just takes me back. It takes me back to my childhood every time I see it. But also, there's another one called The Real Story of Santa Claus. Really cool. Really cool. There was another
The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus.
I think it was. That's what it's called. Yeah, I think it was. That's what it's called. It was called. It was like the one where Santa Claus is like raised by elves and fairies and such. I think. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Which one's the one where he's a young man with red hair and all that?
Oh.
Oh wow. I wonder if that's it.
Or it's the Life and Adventures of Santa Claus.
The thing is like there's two different ones. One's the like Rankin Bass like claymation one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Which is basically him like I think that's the one where he's Raised by Elves or something, but like that's the one
it.
where like he's like one step in front of the other songs from.
I think no, Life and Adventures of Santa Claus, I think, is like how he comes to receive the gift of immortality
That's
and
the
such.
one.
What I was trying to say is there's the old Claymation one, but there's also like
because
a 2D
you're thinking of Santa. Yeah, I was trying to think of the title of this one, but yeah, you were thinking of Santa Claus is Coming to Town, where he sings that
I
song.
was saying
Put one foot in front of. Yeah.
And then there's also like the 2D animated one, which is the one I think you're talking about, which is like how he became Santa Claus and got immortality and all that. That's a newer one.
Well, that's the one that I've seen, but I think there's also a Claymation version of that.
Right. Love that. Just love those. They just take me right back to my childhood, and they're just so amazing. There's also another one called Claymation Christmas Special, in which you have the California raisins.
Yeah.
Just if you want to see like some of the best if there's like great claymation in that too, and plus of course the California raisins, and also one of the best versions of Joy to the World that I have ever heard in my lifetime, and probably will ever hear in my lifetime. I mean, I found a way to track down that one track and put it on my MP3 player. I love it. I love it that much, and it's so hard. Good luck trying to find it, because it's hard to find. But I was like, I was insistent, like I must have this version of it in order to exist. But yeah, Claymation Christmas Special with the California raisins. It's again just takes me back to childhood. And I actually grew up around the rate of when the raisins were, popular.
Yeah.
Fun fact, they were based on the Isley brothers.
Just to go off of Claymation stuff, is like, in terms of Claymation, if you also heard, like, HBO did, like, a Santa Inc. Claymation third thing with Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen. Who's the one who's, like, the one who does all pop? Who did the, what's the movie? Who did the food, sausage party? Isn't it Seth Rogen?
Yes.
I think he was the main one behind that, yeah.
Yeah, he did Santa Claus 2D animated special. Yeah, he did a 2D animated like Christmas thing with him as Santa Claus. Do not watch that because it's not very well received.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
it's too surprised, I guess, though.
Yeah, its average audience rating, I was just looking, Rotten Tomato is 4%.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's apparently like from my descriptions I've heard of it, it's a very spiteful parody of like Christmas specials. And it's a very like it's basically about female elf like basically assistant is like, why can't I be the next Santa Claus? Why it has to be a white fat man? And, like that's the whole plot.
I mean, I could see you going somewhere with that, but yeah, like.
Also, there's a lot of swearing.
Yeah.
And like from what I've seen in clips, there's like a lot of swearing just randomly that's the humor pretty much.
Swearing always equals funny.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. It's a very.
You always have rare exports.
Seth Rogen, he was not the perfect one to put him. The only thing I've heard good about is that the animation is actually good. So my heart goes out to the animators who apparently did their job. That's one of the sad things when like there's like a very bad show or something like that, but like the animation or something like that is really good. So it's like you have to feel sorry for those artists. Because like their work is just not going to be appreciated for obvious reasons, and it's not really their fault.
Yeah, did you hear that the director of 8 Crazy Nights actually thanked or at least supported nostalgia critics like utter roasting of that movie, saying it was until he got to like the equivalent of The Room for holiday specials. He said it was the worst holiday special he'd ever seen in his life. But he said part of it was that the animation was gorgeous and in the service of this like this wannabe South Park story that doesn't even have the brains to know that it should be paired with animation like that. And also had about a bajillion other problems, but yeah, the guy said, like, I think he was kind of grateful that his team got credit for all that work they put into the animation that does look really good.
Yeah, because I remember seeing that Nostalgia Critic review ages ago, and from what I remember, the story just had very stupid, like, potty humor at times, but, like, I don't remember the animation ever being an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great, and it goes with jerks about, like, or jerk. Oh, I slipped there about what I wanted to say, but yeah, it goes with jokes about, like, yeah, Adam Sandler farting green clouds at people, and, like, yeah, guys in white suits whizzing their pants, and it gets worse from there.
Because that's what you want to see for Christmas.
Yeah, that's what you want to see drawn in lush, gorgeous A-list animation.
True that. Oh, guys, I'm going to have to duck out. I didn't know how late it was. I'm going to have to duck out here because I got to see what I need. I got to see what I need to clean up here. So I've got to unfortunately duck out.
Yeah, I think that's the same for us.
Yeah.
All right.
So to the viewers of the internet and everybody, have a Merry Christmas or a Happy Holidays. Whatever you celebrate, make it a good one.
Did I never believe it's out of your hands to do so.
Woo!
Your holiday, your fun, whatever that is.
Dance around the Christmas tree.
Ooh,
Have
yeah.
yourself a good night, Jen.
Thanks, you guys. Gotta go. So see you later.
Yeah, great seeing all y'all.
Bye.
Until next time.
All right. I'm not sure who's all left. All right, Jess, it's just you and me, Carlos. I guess to go over one of my, I guess, besides the Christmas thing, like, yeah, we always have a family Christmas Eve party is our big thing, which we're still doing again this year. So look forward to making something this year. But my other holiday tradition is, like, every year or every year we like to go to the movie theater during Christmas because they're still open and it's just sort of a family tradition.
Oh, that's nice.
So do you have any family traditions?
Not like that. No, it's just really is just like the big Christmas party, and then we just chill like at the house, you know. It's really the thing about it. Have like the big celebration and food and eating, sort of like a second Thanksgiving. That's really it. Like aside from like all the pre-planning, decorating of the house and such. That's really it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that because, like I said, that's what I said, a semi-tradition with the movie because sometimes we just end up crashing at home and just like, nah, we're good. You know, it is always neat getting out on Christmas Day just because everything's closed. So it's just interesting driving by all that. Yeah. Well, yeah, with that said, everyone leave. Probably going to end the podcast about now, but I would say,
Yeah.
wish y'all who are listening in the audience, Merry Christmas, Happy any other holidays. I think Hanukkah ends before Christmas this year. So I'm always confused about the start and end date of that. But Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Happy holidays, and see y'all next time. And well, we'll have one more recording before the end of the year, but this is our last one before Christmas. So see y'all.
Ciao. Ciao, everyone.